I love macros, but dedicated macro lenses tend to get really expensive. So today I'm gonna show you the extremely cheap solution I've been using lately. First of all, however, I want you to see what the images actually look like, and then we're going to talk about this tool and what are its pros and cons. Enjoy! Okay, so these are called extension tubes. Simply put, they are pieces of plastic you put between your camera and your lens with no glass whatsoever in them. What they do is that they force the camera to focus closer, so you can get much closer to the subject to get more detail and more bokeh. You can actually use more than one at the same time to get the most magnification possible, but depending on the lens, if you put too many of them, the focus point will end up being inside the lens itself, and you won't be able to focus on anything. Also bear in mind that they do not only shorten the minimum focusing distance, but also the maximum focusing distance, so you have a much shorter limit in terms of the farthest focusing point. The model I have here is a newer one, which also has electronic contacts so that you can still control everything on your camera, which is pretty handy given that some extension tubes don't have that. Okay, so pros and cons. The obvious pros are 1. They're ridiculously cheap compared to a fully fledged macro lens, and 2. You're getting about 85% of what an actual macro lens does without having to carry the extra weight. Now of course there also are cons, otherwise no one would buy macro lenses. The first downside that comes to mind is chromatic aberration. In fact, due to optical reasons and depending on the specific lens you use with them, the four corners will probably show some fuzzy colors or a slight vignetting, because you are trying to use a lens to focus much closer than it was intended to. The other downside is that you're picking up a little less light, which may be a problem depending on when and where you plan to use them. All things considered, I think that for the price they're a useful tool in your belt, and if you keep those limitations in mind, you'll have a good time using them. As for me, they're absolutely essential right now, so if you ask me, yes, I definitely recommend them. So that was it for today. Hope you guys found this video useful, and if you're interested in extension tubes, I'll make sure to leave some links down in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. This was Joe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.